Good evening, and you're here this evening with Justice of Gen X Talks Your News. This is the premiere via Black Talk Radio, and we have a very, very special guest this evening. It's City Council member Miss Jolanda, a.k.a. Jo Jones. How are you this evening?
Hello?
Yes. How are you? Sorry, I had your mute button on.
Okay.
But how are
I'm
you?
well, thank you.
Great, great. I mean, I was really, really fortunate to run into you at the National Night Out that's in Sunnyside under the coordination of Sunnyside's mayor, Ms. Sandra Massey Hines. So when I was speaking with you, it was the first time meeting you. It's such a pleasure.
Thanks.
I mean, I always view you on television all the time, you know, fighting for the right causes. And just to kind of give our audience some of the news about you, number one, I admire you, first of all, for being a mom.
Thank you.
Definitely a phenomenal career woman. You are a successful attorney, a successful business woman. Also, you have a number of achievements, and I would consider you a trailblazer. Sometimes I was reading some of the biography on you, and you were the person that did not step down or step back at any time when you felt something was right. But I just want to commend you.
Thank you.
So we're here tonight to discuss and kind of highlight the Houston Survival Challenge for 2008. Can you kind of...
It's actually called the Houston Survivor Challenge as opposed to Survival.
Okay.
And it's called the Houston Survivor Challenge because I was on Survivor, that CBS reality TV show. And so it's our version of Survivor. We will be squeezing a game of Survivor into a day. We have challenges that are built to fit the locale. If you've ever watched Survivor, then you know that they built challenges there. And we have land challenges, water challenges, and a bunch of my friends from Survivor, Amazing Race, and Big Brother are coming to town to participate in this event for us to raise money for two local nonprofits here. One is the Buffalo Bayou Partnership, which I'm really an environmentalist, and I think we need to protect our environment, and I ride my bike almost everywhere if the distance is 30 miles or less, and I'm a big recycler, and I mean, so that's why I'm trying to raise money for the Buffalo Bayou Partnership. But the second nonprofit is called the Ujana Conley Foundation for SIDS, Sudden Infant Death Syndrome, and that's personal to me because Ujana was my niece, my sister and brother-in-law's firstborn, and she was 11 months and 13 days. She was a perfectly healthy baby. She was saying mommy and daddy as she was walking, and she just dropped dead when she went down for a nap, and profoundly affected my family's life, especially my sister and her husband's. We got together, thought about it, didn't want her death to be in vain, started a nonprofit. We got our 501c3 status in January of '03, and we've been moving forward ever since. So we are just trying to raise money. So that is the second nonprofit, and SIDS actually kills black babies at twice a higher rate as it kills white babies, and no one knows why. But SIDS is the sudden and unexplained death of a child from birth to a year. So,
in fact, a lot of people don't realize that. In fact, when I was doing some research about SIDS, I was even surprised to learn that information. And I thank you for educating the audience about that, because we think that, you know, SIDS really can't happen to us. And it can happen.
SIDS happens, and what you also don't understand about SIDS is when a child dies, no one wants to believe that it was an accident. So there's a homicide investigation going on. So while you are mourning the death of your child, you are being investigated because the police believe you killed your child. I don't know that there's anything lucky about my niece dying, but the lucky part is that my niece was with a caregiver. So it wasn't my sister that the police focused on. It was the caregiver who always was loving towards Ujana. So it's difficult because no parent should have to bury their child, much less their, child that that just got here that was perfectly healthy. And to have to be, interrogated, and it's just difficult. And it's difficult because you always wish you could have done something to save them. If you are going to have children in the future, it profoundly affects your ability to have peace of mind. I know my sister was pregnant after Jana died and didn't know it. And when she found out she was pregnant, she had fears that her next born child would die, and she refused to work. And it's really interesting. I don't know that we thought much about year birthdays. Sometimes you get have parties, sometimes you don't. But when Elazar, my sister's next child who was born, reached a year, we were relieved.
And you think, I'm sorry, but you also think maybe, since this happened to my child, the first child, the next child, I'm not going to allow to sleep in the room by his or herself. I'm going to make sure that I sleep close. I'm going to have the monitors. You become even more protective.
And stressed. Let me tell you, my nephew wore a monitor, all of my sister's children. My sister has been blessed to have 3 more children, and they all have to have monitors. They have all worn monitors through their first birthdays. And the truth is, monitors don't give you peace of mind. My sister refused to work. She refused to leave my nephew she refused to let him out of her sight. And it's just very difficult, and you don't really want to talk about it. So it's real hard to raise money for it. And the beautiful thing about me being on Survivor is that my friends, and people don't know this, but we reality TV show people live in a really weird sort of existence. To me, it's interesting that people care anything at all about us because it's reality TV. It's reality TV, but we've been following, so we actually fly around the world and raise money for charities. So I've been to Stratford, Ontario, Canada to raise money for charities. I've been down to Florida. I've been to Tennessee. I've been to Kentucky. I've been invited to Ohio and Michigan and New York and in Pennsylvania. So I've been invited to a bunch of different places to raise money for charities at a variety of reality TV events. And I just went down to a place last year to Johnson City, Tennessee, which I didn't even know existed.
In fact, what are the qualifications? Like, for example, when you met me, I can't swim. I can dog paddle.
To be on, now I'm not telling you for like the CBS series because this is a nonprofit charity. But if you want to know what you have to have for hours, I'll read some to you because we do have an application. And if you've applied to a reality TV show over the internet like I did, the application is like 25 pages long. It's like obnoxious, and that's the first application, because if you make it past the first application, there's then a 50-page application, so it's crazy. But I took the application of the actual Survivor and sort of modified it. So you download the application. There are 20 contestants will be selected to compete in the Survivor Challenge. The deadline to be selected is October 15th. So if you want to compete in the Houston Survivor Challenge, which will take place in Houston on Buffalo Bayou, then you need to apply by 5 o'clock p.m. on October 15th. To be eligible, all contestants must be at least 18 years or older at the time of the application. All contestants must be in sufficient physical and mental health. Mind you, if you've ever watched Survivor, you know some people are couch potatoes, so that's relative. Also, because some people had never even been outdoors, and then you're like thrust out there.
When I was